In this film, we are transported to a dystopian future where Earth is suffering under the weight of global warming. Devastating fires consume the entire planet, annihilating forests and all vegetation in their path. As a result, many animal species face extinction, victims of extreme dryness and thinning oxygen, which also punishes the few humans who still endure. Food scarcity is just one of the problems. Oxygen, now toxic, is a luxury item that must be purchased. Despite the widespread destruction, Australia emerges as a technological oasis, still capable of generating energy through its nuclear facilities. It is in this setting that we meet Ethan White, a young technician responsible for maintaining the vital systems of the power plant. The risk is immense, but the need to provide oxygen for himself and his wife Zany makes any danger worthwhile, especially when each breath of synthetic oxygen costs more than food and other basic necessities. As a gesture of love, Ethan returns home and gifts Zany a state-of-the-art oxygen mask. Despite financial difficulties, the couple maintains a happy and cozy home. However, their peace is shattered when Zany suddenly starts vomiting blood, a brutal consequence of prolonged exposure to toxic air. The next day, while working alongside his brother Jude, Ethan is abruptly taken to Chronic Corp, a giant in artificial oxygen manufacturing. There he meets Regina Jackson, the brilliant head of the particle research department. Regina brings grim news. The supply of artificial oxygen is running low, and with it, the hope of sustaining life as we know it. However, she reveals that there is one last chance to avoid human extinction and entrusts Ethan with a critical mission, highlighting him as the only person capable of accomplishing it. Confused and shaken, Ethan is led to a secret laboratory where he encounters a surreal invention, a time machine, the result of collaboration between Regina and his father, Richard, the company's chief scientist years ago. The machine, however, faced setbacks when Richard mysteriously disappeared, delaying its development. So far, the machine had only been able to send a small object, a clock, 20 years into the future and bring it back. In the initial attempt to operate the machine, a message was sent 407 years ahead, and surprisingly, a response was received, a sign that, against all odds, humans might still be alive. Unexpectedly, people from the future made a crucial request to Ethan. He should accept a mission that could save humanity. The message, while not revealing who sent it, carried immense weight of hope. However, one technical challenge remained. They had not yet discovered a way to bring Ethan back to the year 2067 after completing the mission. Faced with this uncertainty, Ethan felt torn. Leaving his wife Zany behind was a painful decision. However, inspired by a conversation with his brother Jude, he began to see his journey not just as a sacrifice, but as a necessity to protect not only Zany, but all of humanity. He remembered a gift his father had given him in childhood, a handmade object that always symbolized his father's belief in Ethan's grand destiny. Attempting to touch the gift again, a device mysteriously attached itself to his wrist and remained there, growing with him over the years. The decision was made. With a heavy but resolute heart, Ethan headed to Chronic Corp and accepted the risky journey into the future, carrying with him the hopes of an entire species. Upon waking after the time travel, Ethan encountered an unimaginable reality. The Earth was once again covered by dense forests. As he removed the remnants of his charred protective clothing, he was shocked to find a human skull identical to his, dressed exactly like him and carrying the same belongings, including an advanced cell phone and a bracelet. The difference being that the light on the skull's bracelet was green, while his shone red. Unable to open a door he found, Ethan searched for other signs of civilization. As night fell, his inexperience in jungle survival led him to consume a poisonous fruit, resulting in vivid hallucinations. During this delirium, he glimpsed his father, urging him to find a way back home. When he regained consciousness, he realized the figure he had seen was his brother Jude. Jude explained that he had come to the future upon realizing, through a device in his clothing that monitored heartbeats up to 2067, that Ethan had been poisoned. After this revelation, Ethan showed the skull he had found to Jude. Jude, confused, questioned how it was possible that Ethan, still alive and present, was also represented by that skull in the forest. Armed with a cutting-edge cell phone, Ethan and Jude began to explore the environment in search of signs of human life. They soon found a portal that, when opened, revealed a desolate scene. The space seemed to have been abandoned for centuries. However, one discovery intrigued them, a still-operating computer that appeared to be waiting for Ethan. When he activated it, the bracelet on his wrist tightened painfully, collecting a sample of his DNA and granting him unrestricted access to the location. They discovered they were in the heart of the time machine facility, surprisingly intact except for layers of dust and moss that adorned its surface. Confused, Ethan played an old recording and was confronted with a hologram of his father, Dr. Richard. He revealed that, although initially pleased with the success of the device capable of altering realities, he was shocked to receive instructions from the future to send his own son on the mission. In the meantime, the recording was interrupted when the core cooling system failed, blocking the return portal to 2067 and threatening a catastrophic explosion if not repaired within 4 hours. Rushing to fix the system, Ethan and Jude headed to the city where Ethan previously lived, only to find it reduced to ruins, with human skulls scattered everywhere. Inside his old house, Ethan discovered the skull of his wife, Zany. Grief and a sense of failure overwhelmed him, bringing back painful memories of an equally dark past. As a child, Ethan had been abandoned by his father, and while traveling with his mother, they were ambushed. In that tragic moment, his mother was killed, and he nearly suffocated when his oxygen mask was torn off. It was Jude who rescued him, strengthening their bond to the point where Ethan considered him more than a brother, a true savior who always appeared in the most critical moments. After calming Ethan, still shaken by the trauma and recent discoveries, Jude inadvertently repeated exactly the words Ethan had heard in the recording found with the skull. This sudden and unexpected coincidence deeply shook Jude, who, in a moment of inexplicable and tragic despair, took his own life. Ethan and Jude, confused by the strange experiences they were living, began to argue. However, with limited time to fix the core, they set their issues aside and focused on the urgent mission. Jude once again risked himself to save Ethan, who nearly died while trying to manually repair the core. With the repair completed, they managed to return to their time using the time machine. Back home, Ethan's curiosity about the mystery of the skull persisted. He transferred the battery from his phone to the phone found with the skull and discovered recordings and information that revealed all the secrets. He saw that should he return to 2067, Jude had instructions to kill him. Another revelation shook him even more. The true culprit behind his tragedy was Regina. Watching his father's last message, Ethan realized that his father had never abandoned them. In fact, he had been murdered by Regina, who manipulated events so that Jude would become Ethan's protector and ensure he activated the time machine. Now knowing the truth, Ethan and Jude confronted each other and began to blame one another. The tension and guilt consumed Jude, leading him to suicide. Meanwhile, Regina and her allies were waiting for the activation of the time machine to escape to the future. However, Regina was horrified to see that the machine, which had been activated, was filled with trees and plants. Ethan, in a deliberate act, sent the vegetation into the portal to prevent the humans of 2067 from escaping. He then destroyed the time machine, wishing for everyone on Earth to have a chance to start over. By planting trees, Ethan hoped that the planet could regenerate ecologically and that future generations would breathe clean air again. As a farewell to Zany, he sent a flower. In 2474, Ethan saw the Earth covered in lush vegetation, integrated with nature. The planet was saved, and the film ends with the vision of a regenerated world filled with hope. If you enjoyed this movie, then I recommend watching this other one as well. I guarantee you will like it. See you there.